Hello everybody, this is BITSAA and I am Ishan Sharma, and this is a special episode. So I had the opportunity to attend BITSAA Global Meet 2020 here in BITS Pilani Goa campus, and so I thought why not just share some of the talks and the panel discussions that happened over there. So what I did is that I kind of recorded some bits and pieces of the talks, and so I thought I'd just share them with you. So yeah, that is what I've done, and I'm sorry if the background noise is there, and because literally it was like a bigger auditorium with like more than 100 people in there, so I couldn't do much about it, but I hope you all will understand. But I think that they had a lot of great value in the talks, so I thought I'd just include it into it. So yeah, that's why I thought of making this episode. I hope you will enjoy this, and let's get on with the talks. So day one started off with Sonam Wangchuk, which was really surprising to me because I didn't know that Sonam Wangchuk was coming. Okay, so for those of you who don't know who he is, he basically reformed the education system in Ladakh, and the methods that he used and he actually created his own school. And so he came in, he sort of his own life and his journey that he's been through, some of the misconceptions that people have. And so it was a pretty good talk, I would say.
Consider me an honorary alumnus. I feel very much a part of this. I've been to many institutions of eminence in this country and beyond, but I really could say I feel an energy, an enthusiasm, an empathy that is very special in BITS campuses. Thank you, and thank you students for the treat of art and engineering that they presented here. This is what I like, applying art, engineering together in life, and some of the best memories of my own engineering journey in my college, I'm sure here also, was the first year when we did not just science and engineering, but also social sciences, humanities, ethics, and so on, which made more sense of the technology you would learn in the later years, which made us into better human beings than just technological, monsters. So I really value this kind of harmony and bringing together of different fields, and I'm once again very grateful for being a part of your journey here and to meet so many people from so many years of the journey of this great institution. I, as I said, come from a very different part of this country, or actually the planet, a very unusual part which is polar in weather. Sometimes it's called the third pole after the north and the south. And high up in the mountains, life is very different, very challenging, but it is actually these challenging circumstances that makes one become innovative, enterprising, and solve these challenges. Sometimes it is challenges that stimulate our mind more than comforts. Often comforts make us complacent, whereas challenges makes us, go and solve problems. And that perhaps could be of some value to you, because we, by nature, are compelled to find solutions, and that's where I thought of applying my engineering to solve real-world problems in one of the most challenged places. And what could be better than applying young people through their education in solving such problems, so that the education that we receive in classrooms and textbooks, through lectures and notes, could be more applied to make life better, happier for people around. So I'll share a little bit about how engineering could be applied together with high school science and high school level enthusiastic young people to make a difference even in a very harsh, remote region of this planet. So, just to share a little bit of my story first.
Not for the classrooms and teaching. You actually perhaps wished every day that the school be closed the next day so you could stay home. But here's a school in Ladakh where the most dreaded punishment is to be sent home for 2 weeks, where students learn by doing things, where they engage in various innovations to solve real-life problems like climate change, where they run the school themselves like a little country with an elected government and learn management and governance that way, where they learn communication by running the campus newspaper and radio, science by designing and building their own school, solar-heated mud buildings that stay at plus 15 even in minus 15 winters. Kindness and compassion through introspection and meditation. A school where the criteria of admission is not your percentage, but that the conventional system has failed you.
Hi, I'm Sonam Wangchuk from Ladakh, a remote mountain region in the Indian Himalayas. 25 years ago, when I was finishing my own engineering education, I saw that schools were a pain for everyone, but for mountain children, it was doubly painful and irrelevant. Children who spoke Ladakhi or Tibetan at home were made to sit all day memorizing in alien languages like Urdu or English. F for fan, S for ship, T for train.
Till recently, every year, 95% of the students used to fail in the all-important 10th grade exams.
Together with like-minded friends, we launched SECMOR, the Students' Educational and Cultural Movement of Ladakh, and said enough is enough.
Working with the government, we rewrote many textbooks, retrained the teachers, and organized the villagers. And the results started changing too. For those who still failed, we started the alternative school that you just saw. And the results? Tewan Vigsing went on to become a top journalist and later became the Education Minister of Ladakh Hill Council at 27. He had failed his 10th grade 5 times. Sanjay became a filmmaker and has been winning awards across countries. He had failed 4 times. Miss Timless is today a celebrated social entrepreneur. She had failed 3 times. But now we see that the state of higher education is no better. Not only for Ladakhis, who of course are doubly disadvantaged again, but for you in the big cities too. It's time we change this. We in Ladakh are dreaming again. This time our dream is to create an alternative university that will use all our learnings from the past 25 years. Once again, a hands-on doers university, where the School of Business runs real-life companies on campus. The School of Tourism runs high-end hotels and simple homestays. The School of Education runs innovative schools. The revenues from these sustain the university while the students get free higher education and of course hands-on experience. But this is more than a dream now. His Holiness Chetan Rinpoche, one of the top spiritual leaders in Tibetan Buddhism after His Holiness the Dalai Lama, is supporting this cause as the chief patron. The Hill Council government of Ladakh has earmarked roughly 200 acres of land, and the ice stupa artificial glaciers have already started greening this desert. A fully solar-heated mud-built university township is being planned by some of India's top architects.
Together, let's start the next learning revolution.
where education is not limited to just the 3 R's, all too much to do with the head alone, where skills of the hands and kindness of the heart are given equal importance. Sure, it would take significant financial resources to materialize this ambitious dream. Recently, I was awarded the prestigious Rolex Award for Enterprise for the iSuper Artificial Bracelet.
Sonam Wangchuk.
I contribute my Rolex Award as a seed for this cause. Thank you very much. I have decided to contribute the roughly 1 crore rupees as a seed fund to finally raise 150 crore rupees for the first phase of the project. And I very much hope that you all will join me and
So starting off, it was venture capital, a many splendored thing. This was a panel discussion that included Preetish Nijhawan, who is the co-founder and general partner at Servin Ventures, and Sanjay Nath, who is the co-founder and managing partner at Bloom Ventures. Nilesh Kothari, who is the co-founder and managing partner at Trifecta Capital. VT Bhandari was there as well, who is the general partner at A91 Ventures. And we also had Anant Maheswari, who is the president at Microsoft India.
It's timely that it's a new decade, and my own story. When I came back from the US, I met Karthik. We started Bloom. At that time, we just had a couple of angel groups. Of course, VT was very instrumental in Sequoia as an investor then, but it was really a small group of VCs, and literally it was the VCs and a couple of individual angels, and entrepreneurs really didn't have that support ecosystem. I mean, contrasted to the valley where Preetish is, you have the word serial entrepreneur really didn't exist here, right? I mean, you had people doing it for the first time. Today you've got 2x, 3x entrepreneurs. You've got founders who've been there, done that, and you've got corporate executives also coming in. So I think that's fantastic because if you ask the question, how is starting up today different from 5 or 10 years ago? Seasoned founders also means that we have to pay up for seed valuations, which then go up. But the fact is that you're investing in somebody who has learned. I think picking up something from the earlier talk with Mr. Wangchuk's talk is you're actually backing entrepreneurs who've learned to fail, who know what mistakes not to repeat, and you're in a sense paying up for that, and that is worth something, right? As opposed to taking 3-4 years. So I think the fact that there are these mentors in the ecosystem who are real serial entrepreneurs who are starting up and who are also mentoring others becoming angel investors is fantastic. We're seeing that right across. I'm also seeing a trend, and I'm sure there'll be data that when I would say about 20 years ago when I finished. Literally, the options were very, very linear, right? You would think of, you would apply to the IIMs, or you would get a great job from campus, or you would take your GRE and go to the US. It was, I think, all of us didn't parallel process, we linear process. I think today the options are tremendous. I mean, we have, again, not immediately studying again, but I know the last time I went to campus for my 25th reunion last year, apparently there were about 80 business startup ideas that had started on campus itself. The 3rd and 4th year. So entrepreneurship is starting so early, and I think that it's our job also to mentor that. We may not invest it, but you can support it as angel investors are doing. So I think the talent is starting from the grassroots. We can get much better, of course. So, but it's been a sea change, and it's got a long way to go. I think what is interesting, again, exits are important because exited entrepreneurs coming out, fuel, cash back.
So Sanjay, I'll try to keep it short because we'll get more opinions in. But I take the point around the fact that you can see the experience, the failure, actually becoming an asset, as was said earlier also. I'll just go to the other panelists on the human capital.
Yeah. Just some practical data points which support what.
And sorry, as you speak, it would be great if you can also think of both the student audience here and the very tenured audience here.
No, that's what I want to say. One of the interesting things we have seen in our experience in India is that entrepreneurship in India has no age. And there are two facts around it. One is, if I go back and look at our team, many of us came from Sequoia. In the decade of 2011 to 20, of the 43 odd investments that three partners, including me, did, 42 were first generation founders. So the first thing that has changed is when life started in 2006-07, many of us got into investing. maybe 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 would be traditional family-owned business, second generation, third generation, founder raising money. That's completely changed in the last 10 years. So the odds of the entrepreneur being a first generation founder has probably gone from 20% to 90%. The second is the age of the founder. One of the interesting things we have seen is that the age of the founder is not just irrelevant. You see a meaningful spread between folks who are 20, 30, 40, 50, even 60. One of the most successful investments that we were ever part of was Star Health Insurance, where the entrepreneur when capital went in from Sequoia was 65. The exit happened when he was 72, and the private equity firm which has bought him has backed him at the age of 73. And that's not an exception. And it's very interesting. We've made 4 investments last year. There's one 20-year-old, one mid-30s, one mid-40s, one mid-50s. So that we think is a very unique strength of India. And I think we think this is happening because there are many folks, hopefully in this room, who are in their 40s and in their 50s, who probably did not become an entrepreneur because of, not because they didn't want to or because they didn't have an idea, but because they thought capital was not available. And I can tell you my personal experience. I've invested in 4 companies where the age was 55 to 65, and all 4 have been terrific. We think there's a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience that age brings, which also is very helpful for generating venture capital type returns. So that's just a flavor.
That's an awesome one. So if anybody here, and I'm sure many do, have any kind of ideas, you know who to talk to right after this. So let me move a little bit, unless there were very specific points around human capital. I'll just move forward.
I just wanted to add, the one thing that I have observed over the last decade or so is millennials, Gen Z as you call it, they want to live for a higher purpose. They're not necessarily out of campus looking for jobs. They're brave, they're courageous, they want to pursue their passion, they're willing to take risks. And failure is not considered bad anymore. In fact, in our own organization, we have a bunch of very smart people, and there are 3 people who are your classical IIT, ISB, BITS, who are failed founders, and we respect them. So I think that's one big change that I was.
No, so I'll maybe take a break from the headwinds and the tailwinds, but relate a little bit to the previous talk. I think there's a common thematic about the idea and where the idea comes from, and how do you then shape the idea of the venture that you're working on. And if I go back to the same point maybe that you were making 10 years back, the ideas that were really being invested into and scaled were really repeats of ideas globally. They had already happened. You got e-commerce playing in a big way. You had general transaction engines playing in a big way, and they really got the success in India. You now see ideas which are true to the opportunity that India provides, and ideas that can really scale here and go serve maybe 3 billion more people on the planet, because many other parts of the world like Latin America, Africa, Central and Eastern Europe, the Asia Pacific region can all benefit from those ideas. So I'd like to also maybe get your point of view on the diversity of ideas that you see today, the global ideas, the Indian ideas, and also relate back to how much we link to the global ecosystem. So,
look, I think even sitting in the US, it's obvious how the Indian ecosystem has progressed, and it's actually natural, right? It started off with the role models. I actually go back to the role models. It started off with the Infosys and the Wipros of the world. It was a whole bunch of services entrepreneurs were created. Y2K was, I would argue, the biggest boom in India, in the last 50 years, if you ask me. It then moved on to the copycat, commerce ideas. You had your Yatris and Make My Trips and Bazis and so on and so forth. And a whole bunch of role models were created from there. So you saw, from Swiggy's to Zomato and all of these, right? And now you're seeing, and I'm personally very happy to see, it's now moving to even to the B2B area. You have Dhruva, you have BrowserStack, you have Freshtest. These are amazingly solid global companies that started in India. And I think that is that ecosystem of investors, the people sitting here, followed by the role models, the mentors, the lawyers who understand document documentation, the CPAs who understand SaaS business models, right? These are all the ecosystem that I think has positioned India actually to be in a very good place. And I think it's a natural progression. It didn't happen too fast, and I think that's a very good sign.
Any more views on the ideas diversity that you see today and the kind of ideas that are being backed or successful? Anything?
Just very quickly, I'll just go back to what both Nilesh and Preetish said. I think the founders that are coming out today have a very sharpened sense of purpose, in the sense they always had it, but they're thinking very carefully about why they're doing what they're doing. In terms of, I think in our parlance, I think the thesis areas have become very sharpened, both in the investor's eyes and the entrepreneur's eyes. So, for example, in the last like 10-20 years, it was, you could consume internet or B2B. I think today within B2B also we can get deeper, but you have enterprise software, which is always the bulk SaaS, but you have deep tech, you've got life sciences, you've got really cutting edge work happening with the ISA and the others, which are not happening. So even within B2B, we're seeing deeper areas being pursued, and that those areas are getting broadened.
Awesome. So about deep tech. So we talked about people, we talked about the idea. That's how I guess your business works. You look at the person talking to you, you look at the idea that's sitting in front of you, and then you start thinking about how will the capital flow. And is capital an accelerator? How much capital is chasing that idea, and so on. So I think it was interesting that one of you mentioned it as a tailwind and one of you mentioned it as a headwind. So I'd really like to bring that debate into this group because you are the experts on capital. So let's start with capital as a tailwind because you talked about the diversity of capital coming in, the Indian capital, the corporate capital showing up in the startup ecosystem. So, Nilesh, you want to start that?
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, or let's bring some excitement into, none of us had ever visualized something like a SoftBank. Yeah, it came out of nowhere. It became a $100 billion fund. They were writing $1 billion checks. They were writing checks repeatedly in their own companies. And it was like, SoftBank is coming big way, and it resulted into fear, it resulted into irrational thinking, irrational business models. Oyo is in the news now every day for the wrong reasons because, until last year, Ritesh was wondering how he can deploy the $1 billion that was available to him, and now he's worried about, that $1 billion is no longer available, and how does he need to cut his losses and do what he has to do. So I think. And again, this is part of the maturing of the ecosystem, where we need very thoughtful investors. We need investors who are promoting the right metrics, the right behavior amongst founders. And I can tell you, 15 years ago, us as investors, ourselves were naive, and we did not have the maturity. I think we've learned along the way, the founders have learned along the way, and everybody else has learned along the way. But we need to be mindful, and hopefully we'll not have these SoftBank kind of dinosaurs, creating, the kind of disruption that they created in the last few years, and hopefully good sense will prevail.
So Nilesh, you said the magic word SoftBank, and I know Preetish has very easy views on that. So I'll ask him to speak because he was just waiting to get that chance.
Yeah, so I think, look, by the way, if you guys want a lot of views on your LinkedIn post, just watch that, hashtag SoftBank. It's pretty easy. But I think, look, SoftBank, if you look at WeWork, Oyo, the way I put it, if you give your 16-year-old a Porsche and the Porsche crashes, do you blame the parent or do you blame the child? I think I blame the parent more than the child, right? Either way, the Porsche is blameless. Porsche did nothing wrong, okay? The Porsche did what it was supposed to do. A lot of these products, whether it's WeWork or Oyo, etc., they're not bad products. WeWork, I think, is a phenomenal And I have a big problem with that ethos. I think that, the WeWork IPO or the failed IPO was the beginning of a trend downwards. And I think it would be much healthier for the whole ecosystem when a little bit of rationality returns to the way you run companies.
And just picking on that, Preetish, you also spoke about the economic cycle in the broader world, especially the West, where you can see at the end of the economic cycle, therefore capital may be becoming more scarce. And the stuff that's happening in SoftBank will also contribute a bit to that. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so look, I've been wrong on this for the last 2 years, so I'll put that caveat. I think the stock market continues to do what I call the meltdown. It's quite remarkable what's going on in the US. But I do think that at some point, as I said, the response to SoftBank Sequoia raising $8 billion, which actually surprised me, because they are the most, and I think the investors that I respect the most in the Valley are Sequoia and Benchmark, and that also, they were responding to what happened in SoftBank. So we will see what happens. So I think in the short term, you're going to have capital. I'm saying in the 1 to 2 year time frame. In the US, I see a slight change. In India, I actually don't. I think it's the beginning in India.
So we got 10 minutes more. We'll cover 2 more topics, and I'm moving to the one that Nilesh touched upon very subtly: regulation. And that's a topic that can go on for its own full panel for 40-45 minutes, but we'll try to do it in 5 minutes. Nilesh, you want to speak about regulation once again, and if anybody else has points of view around focusing on regulation in India, if there is something that this group should think about, especially the more tenured part of this group, because they may have some influence around regulation. So, Nilesh, first you and then me.
Yeah, I'll keep it short, but
come more into the venture cap ecosystem, the startup ecosystem, what they could do in engaging a lot more. Any one idea that any of you, all of you, I'd like to go to all of you. Preeti, you want to start?
Easy. I think for me it's like alumni makes you feel old, but none of you are old enough to not start a company. So if anyone is thinking of starting a company, now is the time in India to do it.
We are one of the most prominent community within the startup ecosystem. Every major VC fund in this country has a BITSAA as a partner, and in that sense, we kind of control 25% of voting share, if you will, of our capital that's flowing in. I don't think BITS has necessarily marketed itself as a startup community, as an entrepreneurial community. And I can also tell you this, that because we engage with large Indian business houses, whether they're financial institutions or manufacturing companies, all of them are struggling to innovate as fast as the startups, and we are almost feeling threatened. And there's this huge fear that they might die. And so they're willing to look for ideas. And one of the suggestions I would have, because we have the leadership from BITS here, is to set up incubators which can be sponsored by, say, a Maruti or a Hero Group, and so the students can participate in problems that they can bring to these incubators and solve real life problems, and that will create a deeper community, if you will, and bring in a lot of entrepreneurial and problem solving experience, and it can create more practical learning, if you will, for the student community.
So I think the only thing I would say to here is that please solve big problems. I think, do we need another sales and marketing software solution? No. Do we need another food delivery startup? Really? No. Right? I mean, that's been done. Solve big problems. We have huge problems in this country. We have pollution. We have security. We have military issues. And I think the biggest thing that the US has going for it is the massive research and dollars in universities. I think that's the challenge for all of us as alums at U of Pilani itself. And by Pilani, I mean all the campuses, is to do research, fundamental research, and that results in great companies.
Just briefly, I think just piecing together, I think one is doing more events like this. I think something special about BITS is that, if your idea, and the next question is, which idea are you really robotics lab, but we didn't see them there, right? They went out and then we just happened to see them. I think tighter integration, with universities at that stage, especially on the sciences and engineering, but could be for other things, linking up with government grants so that they just come into the ecosystem in a stronger way and they don't have to worry about the wrong things. Just focus on what they're doing. And I think we're doing a lot of that, just doing more of that in a concerted way.
So I just had one final one to that from the vantage point that at least I have from outside of the venture capital ecosystem, but looking at it from a tech company which sees both sides of the story, which is the startups and also the more established enterprise and the corporates. I think I have seen a tremendous amount of learning that happens and growth that happens in the minds of corporates when they interact with startups and they start working with them. A lot of change that all of you look for actually happens. So my big request to everyone here, who might be thinking, I'm really far away from the startup ecosystem or the venture capital ecosystem. What does this really mean for me unless I have an idea? Even in your regular job, in your regular function, if you can find a way in your company to find that connection with the startup ecosystem, there'll be a lot of learning for what you do and a lot of growth in what you do. So with that, I think I'll close. I think we've kept to time so the organizers can feel good that we didn't take that long. 40 minutes is what you gave us. Thank you so much to all the panelists, Vidi, Sanjay, Nilesh, Preetish. Thank you so much.
So I hope you like their perspectives. Coming up next is going to be BitSpark Stars, which was basically a talk by CEOs and founders. So this included Nishit Rastogi, who is the founder and CEO at locus.sh, Payal Tandon, who is the co-founder and CEO of EGMAT, Vijay Sharma, who is the co-founder and CEO of Belong, and Shiv Kumar Ganesan, who is the co-founder and CEO of Exotel, and lastly, Sundi Natarajan, who is the entrepreneur and angel investor. And this talk basically revolved around their story, how they ended up building their own startups, and how angel investor Sundi Natarajan and BitSpark helped them. And here it comes.
Which is boring, but that's what it is. And but in my journey, I think what I'll just call out is that I think both of us were volunteered for BITSAA Alumni Association a lot. We worked with Harish sir, CS Goel sir, for the first BITSAA Global Meet, which was, I think, a great opener. So I think one piece of advice for the younger people, if at all you're there, just volunteer for the BITS alumni community. You will most likely end up building a network, which is insane. We didn't think that Raju Reddy would be on our board. He was a chairman at that time before Jayant took over, and we were awed. And after 5-6 years, he ended up, is now on Belong's board. I think one of the best things that's happened to us. Bloom's an investor because I got to know them in Exotel, so they're investors in Belong as well. Funny is an investor. Funny, I'll say because you did it, I really felt inspired that I should try to do it. I'm not should do. I heard you actually I heard Funny in a BITS Bangalore chapter talk in Indiranagar, and it was very inspiring. I actually heard Shivko also at a BITS event, so that was very inspiring as well. So typically I think the BITS network inspires me. I think you can see a lot of inspiration here. But if you just think about it, me and Rishabh have just been sort of selling into CIOs, CEOs of Walmart. CIO was a customer. He's now at Pinterest because they were going IPO, so the Pinterest founder told him to come and take a lot of stocks, but that's a side story. But the British Telecom CIO, the British Telecom CEO, Verizon CIO, all these people are customers. They are somehow introduced to us thanks to a BITSAA network, by the way. And it's normally not the most sexiest BITSAA out there who does this introduction. It's normal BITSAA like you and me. And so we're sort of super grateful for that. At one point of time when Belong was 70 people, we were 48% BITSAs. So people used to walk into the company and they're like, dude, what is this? And people are saying light disco and I was like, no, hard work disco, and then all the goods in the company, right? All my co-founders are goods. I think I'm not sure. All the goods from Maggie saying goods. So Rishabh is good, by the way. He's from Hyderabad. He eats biryani. That's his claim to fame. But yeah, so it's been a fun journey with all the bits around, and feel very inspired and very thankful for all the help that we get all the time. I'll just keep just one small part of the story, just to make it a story. So I was actually, so my first job was, so I had half the CGPA of my wife, so she's a bitchin. So you can do the maths, right? So she was 9.2, and Professor G. Sundar still allowed me to pass, so I was between 4.5 and 5. You were also 4.5 and 5. Why did you do that? Okay, I hope he's not here. So anyway, so I obviously a bitchin couple completely, but I didn't get a job at campus, so I joined an NGO, which Professor Arya Kumar helped me with, which was the National Entrepreneurship Network. Then after that, I joined a company called Practo, which is a healthcare tech company. I got fired from there after 5 months. And at that point of time, I was talking to Funny to potentially join Redbus, but Mayank Bharadwaj rejected me instantly. So I just got fired, and then he sends like his toughest guy to interview me, and he also rejects me. So my confidence is at the lowest, right? And then luckily I was Shivku's customer, so I was I was Practo, right? So I was to pay Shivku's bills, right? So Shivku would send a follow-up call and say, Vijay, can you process the money? I'm a bootstrap company, right? So I was like, Shivku, I want to catch up. A bunch of things have happened. And then luckily Shivku offered me the chance to build Exotel with him. But I'll just tell you one piece of advice which I got, which I think a lot about. So there's this person called Chandra Bogle, who I think has played a very significant part in the BITS alumni community getting together. And he's not a sexy household name, etc. Right? But talking to him was very helpful, because when I got fired from Practo, he just asked me one simple thing. Did Practo have BITSians? I was like, no, but why does that matter? He's like, yeah, culture you will not understand. Similarity, familiarity you will not understand. Trust you will not understand. So whatever you're doing next, choose a BITSian startup. I had a chance to join Bhavish when there were 7 people, and I had a chance to join Shivku at Exotel when there were 4 people. Just don't regret the choice at all, because I think it was one of the best things that happened for me personally. Awesome.
I'll go now. So my story is very different from their story. I'm not as connected with the BITSian network in the technical manner, in the manner in which these 3 are. But I would say there are 5 ways in which the BITSian community has really helped us build EGMAT from grounds up, especially in the early stages. The first one was that the 3 co-founders that we are, none of us were ever educators. We were technologists at heart, and we had this lofty vision to build a course that is more effective than the classroom courses. We are like, okay, yes, we have this lofty goal, but can we accomplish that? Can we build a course? So what we did was we said, okay, let's take up the most difficult topic, which is there in the GMAT Quant curriculum. We took probability and combination, the probability and permutations and combinations. And show of hands, how many of you enjoy that topic? Enjoy that topic? Okay, good. But I would say, yeah, you guys are BITSians, you're smart, and all of us are BITSians. We do enjoy that topic, but I did see just 50% of the people raise their hands. This is really the most, till date, this is the most feared topic. So we said, okay, let's take the most difficult of the topics, and we'll create a course, learning methodology that we want to implement, and we'll see, we'll have proper metrics, starting score, ending scores, and we'll see whether we can show considerable score improvement. So we did that. We got 100 people to take our 10-day long course. The second thing was, yes, we can build a course, but we want this to be a no-touch point thing. Both of us were always against having any human touch at all in our courses, because we wanted to leverage technology to the letter T. So we said, okay, even if are they motivated enough to go through the course all by themselves without anybody telling them that you really need to go through the course during these 10 days. And surprisingly, to our benefit, majority of the people who started the course on day 1 finished the course on day 10, and with considerable score improvement. Now, out of these 100, 40 were test takers whom we scouted from Bits2B School Yahoo group. And these 40 people, the kind of VOC that I could get from them, that really helped us reshape our first product that we created, and we launched in 2010 August. So that was the first contribution that we got, and I would say 60% of the success of our first course, I owe it to the BITSian community because of the feedback that we got. And it was that BITSian Connect, even though I didn't know them personally, even though I didn't meet with them, it was that BITSian Connect that really helped us get that level of feedback. So that was the first one. The second one was that we created the product we were nobodies in the GMAT space. GMAT was a very competitive marketplace. It drew a lot of a lot of people whom we told that, okay, we are actually building a product in the GMAT space. They said, but it seems pretty saturated. There are so many courses, Veritas Prep, Manhattan GMAT, Kaplans of the world. Why are you choosing GMAT? I was like, okay, we do have a niche market. We can definitely work out something. So we're like, okay, without spending any marketing dollars, can we get students to buy a course from a nobody? And that's where again the BITSAA community came to help without our knowledge. Basically, we launched our course on 2nd of August. On 14th of August, that same month, we actually got a success story on a public forum, one of the biggest public forums that serves GMAT community, and that was from a BITSAA. And that success story was so close to my heart. Based on that success story alone, we earned our first 34 customers with zero marketing dollars. And that really gave us the confidence that yes, there is a need, and again, the BITSAA community, without my telling them, they just came to rescue over there. That was the second one. The third one was the first 2 hires that we had outside of the co-founding team. They were BITSians. My first technology hire was from BITS Goa campus. He worked with us for 3 years, and he then went on to do his MBA from ISB. The investment was that? Exactly. he needed to. He was primed for it, I would say. Yeah. So and then the second hire that we had, he was our first verbal subject matter expert. He was from BITS Hyderabad campus. He worked with us for about 7 years, and now he is pursuing his master's in data analytics. So again, the third part, our first hires that really helped us enhance our products. The fourth one, I would say BITSpark, definitely. At that stage, we were like, okay, we like our product, our customers love our products, but is there somebody else, and is there somebody who has done it all? Will they appreciate what we are doing? Are we really onto something? And that's where getting the funding from BITSpark, even though we didn't need the funding, but that gave us that level of confidence and that safety net that helped us get to our next level of scale. And the fifth one, needless to say, all the advice that Sundi has given us over the years that has been really instrumental. It's one thing to convince my spouse or him convincing me to go on that path, but it's another thing when we get that, when we are able to convince Sundi or when we are able to convince him the other direction, it just gives us that level of conviction that we are headed in the right direction. So yeah, really thankful to the BITSAA community.
Not sure if that really helped or file, but
it really helps.
So we do have a hashtag here if folks you want to start posting questions there. We'll try to consolidate, but I just have 2, and then I'll keep it open to the audience to ask questions. So quite a bit, I think we talk about pivot, and it's probably the most often used but completely confusing. So what is that, or how does pivot kind of resonate with your business, or how did you guys go through in any order?
Your pivot is the real pivot.
I think only in hindsight it looks like a pivot. During the moment it's just survival. कि आज कैसे company बन रही होगी? So I think I started out with a location-based messaging app. If you know Google, Neighborly, something similar, or maybe I think you're like Yak but with trust. But broadly, we couldn't market it at all. So to market it at that time, we thought there was a pretty infamous Uber incident back in 2014. Right? My father was one of the point psychiatrists on this. That whole topic was pretty close to us. So we started out with a women's safety art called Right Safe. As a matter of fact, the first $150,000 raised for Locus was for Right Safe. During the raise, during several of the conversations, right, and we had a very straight up, honest conversation with our investor that we think that it's a great utility, but we're not sure if it's going to be a great business. And during that conversation itself, that women's safety app started getting adopted by delivery companies to see if their delivery boys are deviating, right? And they asked us for an enterprise version, and I kid you not, much like any, penultimate year which hubris, right? I was like, are they idiots? Like, do they not know GPS exists? Do they not know tracking systems exist? And as it always turns out, we were the ones who were idiots because we were the ones missing out the point that they were not actually tracking, but that coffee company, that on-demand coffee company, they were trying to see if their delivery boys are going for a smoke break or somewhere else. And instead of tracking and figuring it out, they were using the deviation for a women's safety app for that. And that's what we heard, adopted to, right? And as I said that at the start, right, like very genuinely in hindsight, it looks like this smart call that, you were listening to the market and you could shift from B2C to B2B. Like, during the time, it wasn't like that. It was just plain ego. How do I survive today? Like, how do I not die? Like, how do I not become one more statistic in 99% failed startups, right? So during the moment, at least for me, I wasn't smart enough to see it forward. It was just absolute relentless execution. And we kept building till it's not that we have done it, like we're still, like unlike actually 50% of this room, which is extremely rare today, we are not EBITDA positive, right? 50% of this room is, which is pretty cool, which is amazingly cool. So we still have a lot of money we have raised which we have not returned, but I think we are on part to that. So yeah, like while you are doing it, it's okay if you can't see it forward, or maybe it was okay for us, and we weren't that smart. It was just like not dying, like it is simple as that.
I would say in our case, there were 3 major pivots that I can think of right now. And I wouldn't say that we just stumbled on them, we did plan for them, but we didn't raise all our hopes on them. Everything that we've taken up on GMAT, any endeavor, we've always said, okay, let's do this. If plan A doesn't work, these are the metrics that we're going to track. If we are not able to get to that, then we are going to work on something else. So again, it was always a planned activity, but with a measured risk associated with it. So the first pivot that I can think of right now is after we had launched 50% of our course. We didn't. So we are one of those companies that didn't launch the complete GMAT product. The first product was covered just 20% of the entire GMAT curriculum. Then in 2012, so we launched in 2010. In 2012, we had finished about 50% of the entire GMAT curriculum. By that time, we actually got about 300% increase in our revenue. So that was the first pivot that we experienced. The second one was when we created our testing platform and that our practice platform, which had inbuilt analytics. So again, that was a measured thing. We knew that there is an absolute need in the customer market for having proper analytics, for having a practice platform. And that really got us to another 100% increase in our revenues. The third one was when we came up with really unique way of marketing our courses, and no other test prep company marketed in that manner, and that got us to the next pivot. Now that doesn't mean that there were other experiments, that all our experiments were successful. I can think about 5 other major experiments that we did that weren't as successful. But that's the beauty of running your own thing. You come up with experiments, and then some successes you take with you, and some failures you learn from them, and then you improvise in your next experiments.
Yeah, in the interest of time, I know we are very close to the 45-minute mark, but maybe for both of you specifically, I know we briefly chatted about it. When you co-found companies with BITSAA, it doesn't always go well, and sometimes you have to part ways. So how did you guys resolve the conflicts you wanted?
Like, everyone wants to watch a movie, dude. Like, Nishal and Payal, no one wants to listen to. Look at them. Sorry, what is it? Can we skip this? What is it? Yeah, skip. You said skip. Time is running out.
Now, how do you resolve conflict between founders, co-founders?
How to resolve conflicts? Actually, if you answer what happened behind the scenes, will be damn boring.
Yeah.
Yes. How do you want to make it?
A year and a half. So how to resolve conflicts, I think, is to try to be as objective as you can be. So long as we make it not about 2021, I think you'll mostly be able to sort it out. I think that it's a dynamic, changing environment. People grow, people change, markets change, interests change. I don't see why everyone should stick on to what they started off with for the rest of their lives. I don't think any of us are going to do. Right? This is perhaps not the first time. This is going to be the last startup that he's going to do. By the way, what is with that .sh?
We couldn't find .com. We basically said .sh is for shipping. One thing you learn from BITSAA is storytelling. कितनी बार ये explain किया कि इतनी CGPA क्यों है?
So that's what I would say. I mean, I think conflicts are going to happen. Maybe conflict is too strong a word. I think differences of opinion, different points of views are certainly going to exist. So long as you keep your mind on the objective, for as long as you can, I think it's going to be okay.
Actually, let me just give like some textbook stuff, right? I mean, at least for me, I've had a co-founder leave recently, actually 2 years back. I know Funny and Jayan also have had, and Jayan's story is obviously a little bit more Silicon Valley-ish. We met his other co-founders, so we now know a little bit more. But I think Funny also had his co-founders leave at different points of time, and I think Raju, my mentors, had co-founders leave, and I've obviously left Shivco. I don't know how many of you want to understand this, but 2-3 things I wish I knew about co-founder relationships, which I could have told myself. So I'll just share that. One is that you have to invest in it just like you invest in it in a marriage or into a relationship. You have to keep investing in it, right? So, and that is a kartavya you have to do. Like you can't, like if it's not working out or it's working out, it doesn't matter. Your first duty is to invest into the relationship, and that I think one you should do, irrespective whether the outcome will be great or not. Secondly, I think it's fine. Like as Shivku was saying, I think it's completely fine. But as long as in the start, I think one of the good pieces of advice I got from Shivku, Funny, etc., which is again the BITSAA network when we were starting up, is that so we had 5 co-founders, and Rishabh's like much smarter and much better than me on a lot of things. He has a little bit more weight also than me. His brother is in BITSAA right now also. But at the end of the day, we were very clear who the CEO is going to be, and it was very clearly decided at the start. I think that's an important topic to discuss at the start if you can. Because if you have that clarity, then you know that when there is a discussion of opinion, then you know who you are trusting that decision to. Eventually, when someone's leaving, it's because they don't agree with that decision. And they're not agreeing with that CEO per se. And I think that's something that we just have to be comfortable with, and you have to sort of take a call on. And I think third thing, I think it's a beautiful relationship. I think, I've been fired by Shashank and Practo. He's an angel investor in Belong. Shivku rented his my first few months of building Belong. I didn't have money, so he lent his kitchen and his office for like a meager like 2,000 rupees. He asked for money. Just kidding. 2,000 bucks is fine, I think. For food and for rent in Bangalore, like for 3 months, I think it was great, right? So I think there should be no animosity at the end of it, because like I think life is too small and this is like really not worth it. But I know you feel like it. Like when I was fired by Shashank, I felt like murdering him. And then when Shivku and I were having, actually I'll tell you the conversation that triggered it. I think Shivku was going through a very tough time at Exotel. At a time just set up by some babu somewhere who got up from the wrong side of the bed and questioned the regulations of this country on whether Exotel exists or not. And I think it was like one of the toughest times I think you've been through. I remember us running around pillar to post to try and save Exotel. And post that, I think just in one random conversation, Shivku and Ishwar and Sid were discussing, and Shivku's like, like in this, and we were pivoting, right? Like that cool word, we were pivoting, but we didn't pivot eventually, did we?
Yeah. Before you pivot, it looks like a VLOOKUP.
Yeah.
So you're just like searching.
So when I look back, I tell you the thing that triggered me to think of leaving Exotel, because I was like very committed. And what I would like to tell myself is I shouldn't have taken that point too hard, but it's fine because it also led to Belong. Because he said something like, look, I'm not sure in this new setup what are you going to do, right? Actually what he was trying to do was instigate me to think how can I add value to the new pivot version of the company. And I took it like, oh, this guy doesn't think I'm going to add value. No, literally, like these are the hard conversations that, like this is not funny. Like it is literally human beings not being able to understand what another person is trying to do to motivate you and you taking it in a different way. So my only point is that as long as the human being is not bad on the other side, I think it's totally cool and you should like be willing to not even forgive, there's no point of forgiveness, just be willing to sort of just go through the experience, because I think that itself will be amazing. So, I mean, that's how I think of it. I don't think I ever told you this, that moment when Karthik and everyone was in the room and you said, I don't know what you'll do in this new journey. Now when I think about it, I don't think you meant that to go from Exotel. But yeah, I mean, I took it like that. So, and I'm just trying to share what, as a co-founder, someone who made me a co-founder over here, and then in my journey when I've sort of made my mistakes with my co-founders as well. So,
Thanks a lot. So I know we're very close, but I'll open the questions now for the audience, if you guys want to.
keep it really short, so that way
Hi, my name is Saksha. I'm a third year student. I think the question will be related to Payal ma'am. You are someone who took a bit of corporate experience before you went into startups, whereas the three founders, they have not done that. Now, in today's world, BITSAA is a campus which prides itself in saying 100% placement into corporates. So how does a student really drop that opportunity and go for startups? And how did corporate life actually help you?
First of all, no one calls me ma'am, so Payal is good. Good question. How does corporate life help me? It basically gives us an idea about how our work process is handled, how do you build products. Whatever we learn in the Pilani atmosphere, we are able to implement a lot of that in the corporate environment. So in my pre-EG1 experience, I worked with Honeywell Space Systems. I was designing products for gyroscopes, for reaction wheel assembly. So I was involved in a lot of processes. I was involved in a lot of material testing. So all that background really helped me when I started my own product creation business. So essentially, whatever you do, whether you work for 1 year, whether you work for 2 years, whether you have experience during your college years to build something, it's really the experience that counts. The number of years doesn't really matter. As long as you have your thought process and a very deliberate, very clear thought process, that's all you need.
And I think my lawyers will hate me for saying this, but I couldn't have built Locus without working for a couple of years at Amazon. Right? And forgive me if I'm reading too much, but in your question, it's almost like, there is a axiomatic vilified assumption for the word corporate. Right? Like, please fundamentally understand that, if I talk about a company which did $12 billion in revenue, is growing 125% YOY for the last 2 years, and is projected to maintain that, I'm still just talking about the airports division of Apple. Right? So the difference between a startup and corporate is only and only growth rate. Right? That's why Tesla can be still called a startup, and your local kirana dukan may or may not be. So it's really not the size, scale, or anything. If you're broadly growing in the proximity of 100% YOY, you can be a startup. And good corporates are amazing, beautiful machineries. Right? Like, I'm trying to build an org right now and failing so magnificently at it. Right? That at least I personally have a lot of appreciation for it. So I don't think startups and corporates are different to begin with. A well-run corporate is as good as a startup, and a well-run startup is as good as a corporate. Only thing that matters is growth rate. If you're growing at 20%, you're a lifestyle business. If you're growing at 100%, you're a venture business. But both needs to be business.
All right, yeah, let's take another question real quick before we wrap up. Anyone else in the room? Yeah. Go and get the mic.
Thank you. My question is to Vijay. I'm a startup founder, and what would be your advice to when hiring the first few employees of your company, without paying them a salary, just asking them to come up on equity, just take that chance. So what's your advice?
Rishabh right now. Rishabh, I can just go back to the exact pose that you were in right now, just before when you were talking about equity sharing and all that stuff.
Big founders are anyways not earning much.
No. That's for the employee.
No, the thing is, you're asking some people who are paying, they're getting paid very well, and you're asking them to leave their well-paid corporate jobs. So I mean, in that scenario, what is your advice?
Yeah, I think I'll just answer the vision matters. So who has a quick answers then?
See, I think if somebody is sticking to their jobs because they want to earn their salary, maybe he's not the right candidate for you anyway. So I think.
Tell them how much money they're gonna make. And if you don't fundamentally believe in it, don't fucking do your own business. Let's not be ashamed of calling it a business. Like charity nahi hai, we want to make money. If you're gonna make money, your early team will make money. Like there are 24-year-old graduates from Goa campus in my team who have just paid a down payment on a Mustang. Right? Like people make an unintuitive amount of money if they do that right. So please tell them that they'll make more money.
He specifically told you not to use the 4-word. You did 6, 7 word. The only thing is when we asked them like the prep, like don't use the 4-letter word, etc. Here's Professor Raghuram sitting here. I'll just quickly wrap it up. I actually disagree with Nishit. Nishit, just doing piss him off. Anyway, but I sort of really disagree with Nitesh on this one. Correct? But anyway, so my view is that it should be you will start the company with some passion about something that you're passionate about. I think you have to find people who will believe in that, and for that you have to just keep talking. So I have a list of 78 people I pitched to be a co-founder for until I found my co-founder. And actually just leave employees, right? Like I had to pitch to 78 people to get my first co-founder. I have a list on an Evernote in my phone which is getting charged there. And at the end of the day, I think Rishabh would have joined because he thought that the vision was worth it. Sudhindra would have joined because he thought he'd get a chance to do product at just passing out of college. And Saiteja would have joined because he thought he'd get to lead tech. So actually, you can't know exactly what's going to trigger the other person. I think it's like sales where you just go and then you try to sort of see what is going to sort of work for the other person. But I think the key secret I would say that at least I think of is what is the other person's North Star, and does your company's journey and that role align with helping that person hit their North Star? If it doesn't, it's not going to be a good fit anyway. Right? So for example, if I am not motivated by money, I will not enjoy the Mustang part of the world, right? Like, I don't care. So I think you have to find what the other person really believes in or wants to be and their North Star, and then sort of try to see if your company really fits in. If it really fits in, you'll convince him or her. If it doesn't fit in, you'll convince yourself that it doesn't fit.
Yeah, again guys, let's kind of wrap it up because we're very close to a full hour here, and guys are going to hang around here, so stay put and you can ask your questions after the sessions. But I wanted to thank them all. Thanks for a
So that was day one from my perspective. Again, I had a lot of fun the whole day. I met with a lot of new alumni and I had a lot of fun with them. There was even this guy playing guitar on the B-Dome, so even I sung with him, and it was a pretty good experience. We were all singing old songs and stuff, and it was really cool. So yeah, this is a pretty good thing, right? And for those of you who don't know, this is pretty rare, right? So for BGM to happen in Goa, and for BGM to happen especially in Goa, is like once in every 9 years kind of an opportunity, which is pretty rare. So that means for my entire degree, I won't be having another global meet. So this is huge. People from all across the world have gathered here and just sharing their information, sharing what they have to offer. People that have gone different routes, taken up things that are completely different from engineering in particular. So yeah, I think it was a pretty good experience. Again, I might make more episodes, seeing that there is a day 2 and day 3. So yeah, I just thought it would be best to just upload it right away. Just let me know what you think about this episode. If you learned something, and you can just feel free to DM me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and the links will be in the show notes. And yeah, that should do it. Stay tuned for the regular episodes that will be coming up every Sunday. I have Mehul Mohan coming up on Sunday. And yeah, that should do it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.